It's very easy to give money away. It's very easy. It's a lot harder to get money, whether it's revenue, sales, profits, any of those kind of things. And you read a lot of different marketing books on internet marketing, and it talks about Google AdWords, and there's nothing wrong with these platforms, but Google AdWords, Facebook has its own ad platform, Twitter is trying to get into ad platform too, buying impressions with your ad banners. Buying is the key word there. You're buying a lot of those kind of things, and you're spending a lot of money to do that. When you're a scrappy startup, there's a lot of innovative. When you don't have money, you get creative. When you have money, you skip some of those steps, and those are very crucial steps not to miss, you know. So even if you have a few $1,000s dedicated per month on your small business marketing or startup marketing and stuff, it's always a good idea to find what can I do to bring in traffic with zero marketing. With zero marketing implies you're not spending any money. You know, all you're doing is utilizing your creativity. So for
and time.
Creativity and time, and time is quite crucial. We can talk about time management later. You know, it's very important for you. There are a lot of different tools to start up with. The fact is 60% of traffic to websites come from Google organic search, which is all the organic results that you see on the left-hand side after the sponsored ads. 60% of traffic that comes from that. Maybe the number is slightly lower or higher nowadays, but that's a fact. Organic implies that it's the time you put in to optimize your site. That included relevance, meaning that when people clicked on your search results that Google served up, when they landed on your site, they didn't exit out. They actually went deeper and deeper into your site. Hopefully they completed the transaction and gave you their credit card, and you shipped the order out to them and they didn't return it. That's the fuller experience, right? So if 60% of that traffic comes from Google search, where would you want, and it's free, where do you want to spend your time as a business owner? It should be on Google organic search. But Google organic search is tricky because it takes time. It takes time for you to see the results of your effort. You don't see it immediately. A lot of people have a happy trigger finger and they get on Google AdWords and they bid on specific key phrases, you know, keyword phrases and stuff like that to immediately start seeing the traffic. But the problem with that is, on average, depending on your industry, when you do Google AdWords, you have to look at your cost of acquisition. It's not how many orders you got, it's how much did you spend and how many orders you got. Divide the two numbers up. And if you got new customers, okay, that's your acquisition cost. You know, if you spend $900 on Google AdWords, right, and you got 30 orders from that, your cost of acquisition is $30 per customer. Now, as a business owner, you have to figure out that $30, when are you going to make it back? Depending on your margin, it might be 2-3 transactions later, you might be able to make that money back in order to break even for acquiring that customer. So that's a key, sort of a traditional marketing metric that still applies today. You have to pay attention to that. Compared to, you do Google search, organic search, it's called also SEO, you know, search engine optimization, and you keep on working at it, and then the more traffic you get from it and the better you optimize your checkout process, your customer service and those kind of things, the more return you're going to get from it, because how much are you spending as a marketing budget? Zero. Currently, Vitamin Creek has 15,000 products actively selling 15,000 products. Obviously, we cannot get all the product images up, product information up, supplement facts up, because we can only spend time on so many things, right? One of the basic optimizations is, if you're an e-commerce company, is your product pages should have all the information the customer needs to make a buying decision or a purchase decision and actually check out, right? And what are those basics? The product name should be transparent and easy so that you can search for it. You could find it on Google, and that's how you happen to be on the site. So that's a very basic thing, and that includes your title bar, your description, and also followed by after the title is the product image. How does the product look like? And if you could take a nice high-res image where people can zoom in and actually look at the pattern of the shirt that you're trying to sell, you would be effective at selling that shirt than having an image that's this tiny and it's impossible to see what does it really look like. It's better even if you allow your customers to post their pictures with your shirt on when they bought it, with your shirt on, to post it on the product page. So now the customers can see, oh, I am that specific body type. It looks great on me. You know, it looks great on him. It's going to look great on me. Or those shoes look great on her. It's going to look great on me. You know, that's the kind of a relevance. You increase your relevance on that product page because you're giving a lot of those pictures that you need. Because customers cannot feel things on today on an e-commerce site. The way they can feel it is through pictures and video that you can, you know, for the minimum, you should have a picture of a product up. It would be better to have multiple pictures. So if you're showing, like Zappos does, when you're looking at a sneakers, it shows it to you from top, it shows you the shoelaces, it shows you the back, front, under it, above it. You can do 360, any which way you want to look at it. You're going to feel that product. You can actually see how it looks like. And then if that's not enough, below it, there are people talking about how great it fits and how comfortable it is, and you had a backache, and all of a sudden you started wearing these sneakers, and all of a sudden your backache is better now, and you don't feel that much of a backache. Those are the kind of things that your customers can socialize that information. But providing the technical specs about the product is important, you know. So at a minimum, one-page optimization tactic is on an e-commerce site. Get your product information completed. If you could put video on that page, you're way ahead of the pack already. But images, you should put images up. Definitely put images up. The product name should be correct so that it's easily searchable. The product description should be complete so that people can see what the manufacturer is saying to you or the brand. It should tell you the technical specs of how big it is and how much does it weigh, or how many pills, or how many shoelaces does it come with? Does it come with a battery, this thing that you're buying? You know, it should tell you all of those facts. And under it, then you socialize the customer communication on that page. So that by itself, that hint, that tip helps a lot of customers. I mean, a lot of potential e-commerce store builders or whoever's watching this show would be able to utilize it and maximize the revenue from that page. Because if people show up to a page and it gives you a title that's not descriptive and you don't really see what it's saying, it just tells you the price, there is no image, there is no description, what happens? People exit. Because nowadays, the attention span 10 years ago on the web used to be 8 seconds. Now it's less than 4 seconds, thanks to Facebook and Twitter, especially Twitter. The attention span of people are less than 4 seconds. So if you don't grab them with an image, because that's what they're paying attention to first, then they see the title, then they see the price, and then they read whatever they have to read, and then the recommendations. If you don't do that under 4 seconds, you lost the person. Yeah. They leave you. The example I just gave, because Google looks for product information, you know, like content. They love content. Google loves content. So if the more content you just put on that page, let's say you sell 50 products, right, or 100 products, or whatever that number is, right? Now you put more content in there, your page becomes more relevant from a Google perspective. So when people are searching for those kind of things, they'll start finding you. So that's the first step.
So Google might potentially weight the fact that there are 5 images on this page versus 1.
I don't know about images. There are alternative tags that you can put on an image, meaning that describing in text what the image is, you know, that might help. But what it helps more is the product information that you just put up. The title looks good, and if you actually look at that title and use different tools online, that tells you what's the velocity of that keyword that you just optimized to. So
just on that, what are some tools that you use for that?
Personally, there's so many different tools. The one that I personally use is called Spyfu, spyfu.com. In there, you put in a keyword. It tells you what the velocity of that keyword is, who's bidding on it right now, what the bids are. If you buy I think it costs like $300 a year. It's a great investment. It's like less than $1 a day.
So with this specific example, you may change the title of the product page based on this title has less velocity than that title.
Yep. And what's great about that tool is also misspellings. People misspell all the time. So when you're at the bottom of it, you could put alternative tags or something like that on the page that covers the misspellings that you have, whether it's in a meta tag description or in a meta tag keywords. You could put those in there so that you are covered if somebody mistypes it. And that's another kind of a cool trick to do, because people would type that, and if you know to look out for the misspellings, it's possible that you will appear higher on that search result because your competition only has the correct. This is the first time when the results come in, but Google figures out that you misspelled it. So it says, did you mean this? This is the correct spelling. But right under it, your page could appear because it has the misspelling in it. So in this scenario, misspelling is actually a good thing, that is giving you a lot of remnant traffic because of those popular misspellings that otherwise you cannot compete on when it's the correct spelling, because you're still going up in the ranks. Yeah. You're still building out your SEO strategy, meaning that you're working with blogs and you're working with popular blogs to put links back to your site to give you more recognition that you're a worthwhile site. So that's how those ranks go up, by bringing in popularity. It's basically Google's engine is more like a popularity contest. Think of it from that perspective. That if you can say that you're good every day of every minute of the day, but other people need to say that you're good, right? So what Google does is this popularity contest. It says that, these big sites, these what they call PageRank, these named after Larry Page, these PageRank, this has a higher PageRank and it's connected to this page on your site. So that's more relevant than millions of lower ranking sites pointing to you. They'll say that now you're spamming, because you see the extremes of that, So as you're building out your SEO and you're building relationships and you're building, a relationship especially with the bloggers that write about your industry, it's a good idea to have that, to cultivate that relationship even further and actually make it part of your strategy to get the mentions in there. Mention of your brand name, it makes you more relevant in Google search. Maybe not results of your pages, but makes you more relevant. Links to specific product pages because the blogger wrote a review about a product and it points it directly to that page. That makes it more relevant. And getting that's a lot of sweat and tears you put into the effort with $0 to get a huge return on your time invested into your effort without spending any money.
Can you, so you mentioned SEO, but then you also mentioned kind of blogger reach out in the vertical. So can you talk about what you've done there in terms of engaging the blogosphere?
Currently, I'm still working on the affiliate space. I've not gotten to the blogging aspect of it for my brand specifically. My goal is to actually build that out. There are a lot of health bloggers that write about different health topics and stuff like that, and I would like to have a relationship with them to start writing about the products at Vitamin Creek and so that they can put links to specific pages and those kind of things. I've not done that yet. But if the bloggers are also affiliates, commission-based affiliates on my network, then I'm working with them right now to produce content for them, produce ad banners for them, all of those kind of things to make sure that relationship is cultivated. That's a good start of it. But there should be a social strategy for your brand that you're working on to actually know who's talking about your brand. And those are the bloggers and people who professionally review sites and people who rate services. I mean, if you're in the restaurant business, you know who to go to, and it's a well-known name, right? There are two of them now. It used to be one, but now it's two. And the second one is Yelp. You Yelp about where you are and how you experience the restaurant and stuff like that. Knowing about your industry and who's talking about it is not just good for SEO perspective, it's also good from a PR perspective. It could be part of your PR strategy, knowing which New York Times reporter covers your industry, covers restaurants, covers shoes, the new shoes, covers fashion, covers health and wellness, is key to know those kind of things. And also, not only New York Times, but getting into the blogger level, knowing who is interested in your content, in what you're trying to sell or what you're trying to promote. You can create that bridge with them and create your network so that you could get your business to benefit from it. Twitter is different than Facebook from strategy standpoints. Two different conversations, two different people. It's completely different from that perspective. What Twitter is an incredible platform that allows you to, you can look at your @Vitamin Creek, right? That's your page, right? And if anybody has retweeted you, looking at that, right? That's one. The second one is if somebody messaged you, it's a private message they sent you, hey, is there a coupon, or hey, do you carry this product, that kind of stuff, and you private message them back. From a customer service standpoint, you could do that to keep up on Twitter.
And for something like that, you do something like TweetDeck or...
TweetDeck was the name of the product that I was thinking.
So you use TweetDeck?
I've used TweetDeck. So those are the two basic things you could do on Twitter. What I utilize Twitter for is actually keeping track of keywords. I want to know, just like I mentioned on Google, keywords, identifying what's the velocity of keyword. Velocity of keyword conversation is key on Twitter. So when people are talking about a specific brand or a specific product, we carry 700 brands on Vitamin Creek. So I'm not going to follow 700 potential conversation threads, but I'm going to follow quite a lot of the most popular ones out there. And if people have questions like, and people do ask each other question or post it, hey, I'm thinking of buying this Nature's Way product, and does it come in tabs or is it capsules? It's a very basic conversation. And if Vitamin Creek jumps in there and says, oh, it's in tablets, but they do have caplets also, or capsules that you can buy, now you just helped out somebody on Twitter, and that helps.
So on that front, what tool do you use to measure the velocity of specific keywords, and how do you actually reach out to people?
We're using an @ sign. You don't have to direct message them. I mean, private messages you could only send, or direct messages you could only send to the people who follow you. They can have that conversation. But publicly, you could just put in the @ sign, because they publicly ask the question, hey, I'm trying to do XYZ. Is it available in tablets or caplets, right? And then you respond back, @ sign, David, yeah, it's available in tablets, but also they have this other one that's available in caplets, but in 90 caps versus 180 tablets. You could help out like that. Yeah. So those are the kind of conversations that you could help cultivate online, but you have to be authentic about it. I mean, if you're on there and you say, oh, yeah, we carry that product, here's a link to our page, checkout, then it doesn't seem authentic. You're spamming. You're not having a conversation. You have to have a conversation. You can ask that, because with your @ sign, people can click on it, they'll see your profile, and they'll see that your website is listed there. People generally appreciate getting a response to their query, whatever query they have on Twitter, right? So if you're authentic about it, you'll get paid back in that authenticity. But if you're blunt about it, then they'll say, oh, okay, you know what? Thank you for answering the question, but you really didn't answer my question, right? And they move on to somebody else, and because you just wasted their time. But if you're authentic and you're giving an answer to their query, they will have that conversation. I've had situations where the conversation from Twitter moved to email and email conversation, and the conversation was going back and forth. How many times do you get a brand and a customer or a potential customer exchanging emails like a dynamic conversation? That's quite tricky, right? So when you are authentic, people see that you're being authentic, and you're not trying to push pills on people, or you're not trying to push your merchandise on them, but you're trying to authentically, you're interested in helping them. When you help them, they do pay back. You do see the payback.
So what tools do you use to measure the keyword mentions of brands that you carry?
It's a dynamic thing. I mean, I've not been able to, there are ways to save your specific searches on Twitter. There's another tool that allows you to do that, right? And it's a great tool. This way you could save the searches if you're not actively on Twitter seeing the conversation, so that you could see how many times that was mentioned. And then directly proportional to that, you would see the increases in your product sales.
So
that you could
like for you, is it kind of either at the very beginning of the day or at the end of the day, you'll kind of monitor that stuff and then kind of actively jump into conversations and
help out.
Not let it distract you all day long, but set aside like, I'm going to do a little bit in the early morning, a little bit late at night.
And you can help out. I mean, one other effective thing you could do is if you're a scrappy startup, you could definitely, there are great students, very intelligent college students that would love to get their hands dirty with experience, and they would love to intern. So that's another very cost-effective way of maybe perhaps giving a stipend to a college student to come in, and all they do is do that all day long. Maybe they could even have it.
Monitoring and responding to people.
They could even have it on their iPhone and they're doing it all day long, and you're watching what they're saying and those kind of things. So that's another way to handle that, and you're not sitting on there doing that. You would rather spend time working on your marketing strategy or trying to increase business while the person is doing that, and you have to keep an eye on it and train them, provide them with training and more experience so that you can mutually benefit from that experience.
And would you have them responding to people as at Vitamin Creek?
Yes.
Or as Joey Tribbiani or whatever their name is?
That's an interesting question. You know, at Vitamin Creek implies that it's the brand responding to you, versus Joe Tribbiani you mentioned. That could be authentic. I mean, if it's an internal guy at Vitamin Creek that gives you the inside scoop on what's going on, and you have found him to be, and many brands have successfully identified that person in their organization, and people would benefit from it, then it's a great idea to do that. But you will get, as your brand builds, you're going to get advocates who would Twitter, and they would respond to Twitter on your behalf, even though you have not hired them, you didn't pay them. They're just evangelists. They love your brand. They love being your customer because you treat them so nicely, and everything they order is always on time, and always it's accurate, and everything looks great. And you know, God forbid if something were to go bad, you're there to actually help them resolve that issue immediately, and not ponder if I have to do a chargeback on my credit card because I don't trust this retailer.